Hello, Aries. How are you doing? Today is November 22nd. I've been trying to work all morning and my cards kept calling me, like, do a reading. And it occurred to me when I was writing out the date on a file that today is 11/22. And so obviously that's why they were beckoning. The sun is in Sagittarius. Finally, I'm sure most of you will have felt that energy shift immediately. Coming out of Scorpio into Sagittarius is like being let out of jail, or being let out of the dungeon, really. And on Wednesday, Mercury moves into Sagittarius as well. So those are two major planets leaving Scorpio. So our energy should be feeling much better. Yesterday, I finally had the first productive day that I've had in like a month. Bodes well for travel. And of course, this week is Thanksgiving in the United States. So a happy Thanksgiving to everybody that celebrates it. Let's get going. I don't really have anything to say. I just know that the cards were like, pick me up. So let's do the reading for the rest of the week, shall we? And there we go. The first card that comes out here is the Mysticism card. And this is something taking shape. Things being revealed, especially like where a woman is involved. And actually, I was reading this morning that the Ghislaine Maxwell trial is about to start soon, and that a lot of people are sort of shaking in their boots and they're wondering whether it's going to be live on TV or whatnot. But this also kind of fell into like women revealing things, women showing themselves for who they are, secrets coming up from the past, from the depth, etc., etc. So I definitely feel like that feeds into it. But what this is kind of, this can be psychic abilities taking shape, like you suddenly realize that actually your intuition is really on point, or that you maybe like start developing one of your clair skills, claircognizant, clairsentient, clairaudient, or audient. And any one of those. So you may see that you're actually, especially after this time in Scorpio, that your perceptions are more attuned, more refined, and are starting to really take a shape. And some of us, especially putting on this cloak, I think I mentioned once upon a time that I had done this course in London at the School of Psychic Studies, and one of the meditations that they did in order to have you refine your intuition skills is literally to put on the cloak of knowledge. And so this talks about tapping into other forms of information that may be hidden, information that can be felt but not necessarily seen by everyone. So really kind of an intuitive energy. Let's get the challenge. Can I get the challenge energy for Aries for the week of November 22nd, please? So what this says to me is, on top of paying attention, so, the difference between Scorpio and Sagittarius is Scorpio feels from within. It senses from within. It doesn't necessarily see, but it knows. And sometimes that aspect can make it paranoid, it feels like it feels like the world is colored darkly when actually it's not, and maybe a little bit of perspective will help it. And with Sagittarius is, the top of the god of the gods. So looking at things from a very high perspective. So we literally go from the depths of the deep to the heights of the height. And so you may be able to actually be getting a new perspective on some of the information that you were feeling before. Something that you sensed over the Scorpio season, you can now maybe look at it in a different light, from a different perspective, which may bring good news or bad news. When Mercury moves into Sagittarius, you're going to find that your mind is racing, right? Sagittarius is excess. It's all over the place in a good way. It has 1,000 questions, not necessarily 1,000 conclusions. Interesting. That's so funny. And then here's the challenge, is the silence. So actually what this says to me is, especially as we move out of this Scorpio season, that you want to remember the intuitive skills that you tapped into, because as we get into Sagittarius, we move into the mind, move into the knowing, move into the conscious, and it's a higher perspective. It's not Gemini, so it's not concerned with like the lower forms of education or information. It's concerned with higher forms of information. But to not sort of abandon the skills that you refined during the Scorpio season, to still pay attention that while your mind is racing, and there's lots of information coming at you and coming towards you, to not lose this ability that you developed, especially at this full moon, to sense what's going on around you. And that there may be a time, particularly with all the holiday craziness, and you'll be getting a lot of messages, year-end closings for work and whatnot, you might have a hard time tuning into the silence or finding silence. And so to make time for yourself to be able to just sort of collect and gather, and not get sort of swept away in the Sagittarian enthusiasm, which is hard not to. I have a Sagittarius at home, so I constantly feel like I'm being dragged from one side to the other. You never know which way she's going to go. Let me see. I wanted to pull this deck here. Okay. My daughter, who's a Sagittarius, likes to start her stories in the middle. So she'll be like, oh my God, I can't even, like, this is ridiculous. And you have to be like, okay, you got to tell me the rest of the story before I can comment, because I have no idea what you're talking about. And so really for us, in order to not sort of get dragged away by that energy, to remember to stay, because we'll be happy about being in the Sagittarian fire, to remember to hold on to the instincts that you developed. Can I get the overall lesson for the week, please? I'm going to take this one. Okay, hope. Right? And that's very Sagittarian there. A nice contrast to this. So it says, love and acceptance. Love is yours. Recognize your divine worth and choose loving thoughts. And one of the things that actually came to me as a lesson this morning, I finally heard from someone I had reached out to for a long time. I've been making a lot of contacts, especially press ones, without a lot of success. And I was like, God, this is so weird. Like, what's going on? Usually I get a decent response. And the person that responded to me was like well beyond what I had ever hoped for. Like maybe I was reaching out to this level of journalists and this one was up here. So some of also the holding back that's been happening during the Scorpio season was because there's something better for you on the horizon, right? So to not give up hope, and if you're walking away from something, or if you've let something go, or if things aren't flowing to you the way that you're hoping, that you've been hoping, to not lose that, right? Not get discouraged and go into this kind of dark space, because it's possible that the whole reason for that is because they're waiting to bring you something better, right? And that takes time. Let's do here. Okay. Can I get starting and ending energy for the week of November 22nd, 11/22. Starting and ending energy for 11/22. They always fall, don't they? It wouldn't be fun if they didn't fall. Okay, so it's funny because this card came up the other day also. It came up in the reverse, and this time it's right side up. So it talks about slow and steady, which is what I was saying, right? And then here, nice. So here, this is a very different perspective. This is sort of the Sagittarian perspective. She's at the top, the top of the highest point, able to look down, right? And the snail is at the ground level, right? So these are very two different perspectives on what's happening. And I think that's what this whole week is going to be about shifting our perspective, moving out of kind of this space, perhaps even like a dark, weird mysticism space, and moving into something that is freer, lighter, more hopeful, certainly more colorful. And again, but what this says to me here with the challenge, now the challenge may be actually coming out of this space. Like you may be getting stuck in sort of that lunar energy, and to be careful. You want to take a place where there's hope. And you want to look at things, the information that you gathered while you were on the ground, and moving slowly, you're going to want to look at it from a much higher perspective, no? Because when you see, imagine what the world looks like to a little tiny snail, no? Right? Everything looks gigantic. Maybe mountains, little molehills can be mountains. But when you are at the top of the mountain, things look very different. Things look smaller. You get some good perspective on what's going on. So being able to hold on to this intuition, but also being able to put it into context, right? That moving out of where everything seems like a big deal and high emotions and, oh my God, that's going to be such an uphill battle, to, okay, actually, this could work. Like, I see now how this is all playing out. The patterns are playing out, how the pieces are moving, because I'm looking at it from a very different perspective. Let's get 3 cards for Aries for 11/22. 3 cards for Aries, 11/22. Three cards for Aries for 11/22. And this in itself, the fact that it's taking a long time for these cards to come out, is also a message, right? Because I've been using these a lot during the Scorpio season, so they need to be kind of refreshed with new energy, infused with new energy. And that's really, to me, what this whole week is about. Okay, yeah. So starting off here with the 5 of Cups, like feeling, and remember, see, these two are looking in the same direction. They're very focused on the past, these two, looking at things that you can't really do much about, or like a discontent, right? We're Aries, so when we see the slow and steady card, that's not a good thing, right? If a Taurus got a slow and steady, they might be like, yeah, okay, cool. For us, it's like, ugh. So this is unwanted energy, sadness energy, and as you can see, this person is looking in a different direction. Sky's blue, open, even here, these are both very closed figures. And she's open, as the same with this mysticism one, right? Very closed, opening lotus. So this week is really about opening up, and shifting. Now, the thing about the 5 of Cups card is that it's kind of like funny in that it's really high drama, right? Because the dude, I knew it. I knew it. These are the next 2 cards, right? I totally knew it. So this card is like very melodramatic, right? It's like clothed in this dark cape and looking like, woe is me at my 3 cups. And it's like, dude, you've got 2 more cups if you would just turn around. If you would just look at the situation from a different perspective, you would see that actually not only is all not lost, but those are the 2 cups you actually really wanted. And so then we have this sun here right smack in the middle of the reading, which is always, it's right here. So the sun is coming out. Energy is going to shift. We're going to be looking at life from a different perspective, right? And it's like, instead of wallowing over the past and what we don't have, we're actually going to be reveling in what we do have. And if I recall correctly, this came up in the as the Venus in Capricorn in the lunar eclipse reading, right? That this was like where we wanted to move into. State of abundance, bright, sunny, shiny, all is possible. I got this. I'm the king of the world or queen of the world, sitting pretty. Nothing's gonna harm me. I mean, this woman has domesticated a falcon, right? So she's got it. She's not afraid. She's cool. This person looks like anything would knock them over, right? And so embracing the shift of the sun, so the sun moving from Scorpio to Sagittarius, to allow yourself to enjoy this moment, right? So careful about getting stuck in the Scorpio energy. And this happens, we usually get a reading like this anytime we're in the water season for us, because we don't like it, but we're very intuitive beings as Aries, and then also as people who are intuitive by nature. And so we can kind of get stuck in these energies, almost more than than a water sign can, because they tend to flow. We are problem solvers. And so if we find sadness, until we solve the sadness problem, we tend to stay in there. The solving the sadness problem is turning around, looking at things from a different perspective, seeing not what's lost, but what remains, what's still standing. So you definitely want to shift in perspective here. You don't want to focus on the past, but you want to look up to this wide open future with hope, tremendous amount of hope about what could be, because the sun is shining. I got this like reggae dance song that just came into my head. Let's get some advice. I'm gonna take this deck for advice today. And actually, I'm going to pull a spirit animal as well. Ooh, there we go. I got it before I fell down. Amazing. So today is 11/22, and hello 22 card showing up for us here about feeling blessed. And you see, the interesting thing is that this blessed card here is kind of like the culmination of all these cards. It hasn't lost that purpleness, which is the violet flames, violet light of intuition, but also divine protection. But yet it's not in a melancholic way. It's in a positive way. So really transforming this mysticism and this intuition and these very profound abilities that we have, and the ability to feel profoundly, and still using it for something positive, or allowing ourselves to feel the goodness in that, not to tap into necessarily the pain aspect of that. So to shift your intuition and your sensing abilities into a different space. Let me read this for you. Oh, it opened up literally right there. Love it. Okay, so the essential meaning is something wonderful that is unearned and unexpected. Hello. Grace that is an unforeseen gift from spirit. Nice. So it says, there are moments in life when out of the blue it seems that everything has been orchestrated by divine intervention. You feel blessed in ways that are difficult to express. It's as if the Red Sea parts in front of you, and there's that sun right there, getting rid of the gray. The Red Sea parts in front of you, and events come together to banish your troubles easily and naturally. You know deep down you did not deserve any of this. Remember, we talked about that in the lunar eclipse reading, right? With the whole story of Medusa. Medusa ended up paying hideously for a crime that had nothing to do with her. So in like, especially if you're like stuck on something that like from the past that you didn't cause, but you've been paying for, this is one of those times. So you know deep down you did not deserve any of it, and here you are. And yet here you are. This is one of those times. Let awe and gratitude for all your blessings guide you now. I'm gonna read the other. I'll skip the other one and read these, because she breaks up into a general message, then there's a relationship message, and then there's a prosperity message. So the relationship message is you are moving towards a deepening of intimacy and a unique and sacred partnership. You know you are meant to make this connection. This union, blessed by the divine, will bring transformation and beauty to the world. This is also a sign that, even more important, you're being called to a deeper intimacy with yourself and spirit. With this new development, you will see evidence of grace in your life. And then the prosperity message is unexpected windfalls and good fortune come your way now. You're in a phase where any difficulties or obstacles that have stymied your success seem to disappear on their own. Be ready to receive. The windows of opportunity will open wide. Wide open. Accept the blessings given to you now, and don't forget to share them. So this is fantastic. I love it. So yes, a huge shift in energy this week. More than welcome. Stay in your positive energy. Find the sun. We've been in the moon, right? You have these sort of two competing things. This is the center of the reading, and this is the challenge. The challenge is that we stay a little too much in this sort of dark lunar space. And really the universe is asking us to step out into a happy space, into a place where we feel hope and blessed, and we feel like the possibilities for the future are endless. Or if not endless, at least open to us, right? You see that body position there, how it's echoed? Be open. And then we have also this lotus flower open. Be open to what the universe is trying to give you. It cannot give it to you if you are like this. So if this is the energy, you please do what you can to find your way to take a new perspective, to shift things around, to change your thinking. Seek out the sun, seek out what makes you feel blessed, or if nothing else, especially at this Thanksgiving time, make yourself a little list of all that you actually do have. Instead of counting the cups that have fallen, count the cups that are standing. Okay? I hope this is helpful for you. Wishing you all a lovely week. This looks pretty amazing, and Lord knows we've had some pretty shit readings in the last few months. Very good energy. Enjoy your Thanksgiving, and if you celebrate, and I will talk to you again soon. Take care.